Hello and welcome to Fast and Factual. My name is Utsaf Parekh and here are the top stories of the day. Israel and Hezbollah have accused each other of violating the ceasefire in Lebanon. The Israeli military said it struck a Hezbollah weapons facility in Lebanon's southern region. The IDF launched an attack citing quote-unquote suspects entering the southern region on Thursday. Israel called it a breach of the ceasefire agreement by Hezbollah. Meanwhile, Hezbollah alleged that the Israeli army attacked civilians who were returning to their villages. Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu issued a stern warning to Hezbollah on Thursday. He said that Israel was ready for an intensive war if the ceasefire in Lebanon was violated. He added that Israel was completely enforcing the ceasefire. Netanyahu also said that he was ready for a ceasefire in Gaza, but he said he could not agree to end the war because he seeks to dismantle Hamas. Benjamin Netanyahu also vowed to prevent Iran from getting nuclear weapons. This is after Iran's top diplomat said that the country will reverse the ban on developing nuclear bombs if Western sanctions are reimposed. The statement came as Iran prepares to hold nuclear talks with European governments today. Abdul Malik al-Houthi, the leader of the Yemen-based Houthi group, has said that they will keep attacking Israel. He said that the Houthis will continue targeting Israel with drones and missiles. He added that the group was doing its best to support Palestinians amid the war in Gaza. Russian President Vladimir Putin issued a stark warning on Thursday. He vowed to target Kyiv's decision-making centers with Russia's new Oreshnik hypersonic missile. Putin's threat came after an attack on Ukraine's energy grid that left 1 million people in the dark. Moscow unleashed over 90 missiles and nearly 100 drones in the attack. Meanwhile, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has urged his Western allies to respond forcefully to Russia's aggression. Vladimir Putin also called US President-elect Donald Trump an intelligent person on Thursday. He said that the incoming US president was capable of solving problems with his experience. Putin also suggested that things could improve between Russia and the US once Trump takes office next year. Ukraine has decided to increase its defense spending. President Volodymyr Zelensky has approved Ukraine's 2025 budget. 60% of the budget will be dedicated to the country's defense sector. $54 billion will be spent on the country's security. This covers payments for soldiers as well as arms production. The United Kingdom has signed a pact with Iraq. The agreement aims to target gangs that smuggle people. The move is part of Britain's plan to crack down on irregular migration. London will provide about $380,000 for border security training for Iraqi law enforcement. Australia has become the first country to ban social media access for children under the age of 16. The move targets platforms like Facebook, Instagram and TikTok. The Australian law requires tech giants to block underage users or face fines of up to $32 million. A trial enforcement will begin in January, with full implementation expected within a year. Protests broke out in Georgia's capital, Tbilisi, on Thursday. People were demonstrating against the Georgian government's decision to suspend talks with the European Union. Georgia's Prime Minister, Irakli Kobakidze, suspended EU accession talks till at least 2028. The country's ruling party also decided to refuse any financial grants from the European Union. The Indian government has told Parliament that Indian diplomats are being surveilled in Canada. The government said that Indian officials were recently informed about the surveillance by Canadian authorities. They are under audio and video surveillance. India says it has lodged a strong protest against this with the Canadian High Commission in New Delhi. Voting has begun in Ireland's general election. The election will see voters choose 174 representatives for the lower house of Parliament. Prime Minister Simon Harris's centre-right coalition is neck and neck with the opposition party, Sinn Féin. About 3.5 million people are registered to vote in Ireland. Venezuela's parliament has passed a law targeting those that support sanctions against the country. People found guilty of supporting sanctions will be banned from public jobs for up to 60 years. The new law states that the Venezuelan government can also prosecute people who are not in the country. State workers protested in Chile's capital Santiago over better pay and job security. Government employees launched a strike on Thursday. They're protesting against a new Chilean government policy that says contractual workers cannot file a complaint after being fired. The protesters allege that this weakens job stability for thousands of employees. Now we move to climate news. Heavy rains have triggered a devastating landslide in eastern Uganda. The landslide has killed at least 15 people and over 100 are still missing. Rescue efforts are ongoing. Indonesian rescuers have recovered at least 20 bodies after flash floods struck North Sumatra. Rescuers are still looking for 2 more people. Torrential rains over the weekend caused rivers to overflow, washing away homes and farmlands in 4 districts. According to Malaysian Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim, torrential rain has caused severe flooding across 6 Malaysian states. This has impacted over 37,000 people. Kelantan, the worst-hit state, has over 30,000 individuals displaced from over 9,000 families. Authorities have set up 322 temporary shelters across the affected areas. Heavy rains and winds in northern Sri Lanka have triggered floods and landslides. This has claimed 12 lives, with 4 people still missing after having been swept away by flash floods. The Sri Lankan Armed Forces and police are using boats, vehicles and helicopters to assist stranded residents. South Korea faced its 3rd heaviest snowfall in Seoul's recorded history. The cold snap caused major disruptions and killed at least 5 people. Over 16 inches of snow blanketed parts of Seoul. This led to the cancellation of 142 flights, the suspension of 76 ferry routes, and widespread travel delays. In the Gyeonggi province, snow-related incidents included structural collapses and a 53-vehicle highway pile-up with 11 injured. Saudi Arabia will host the annual UN conference on the degradation and desertification starting next week. The conference, dubbed COP16, will take place in Riyadh from December 2nd. UN Secretary-General Antonio Guterres has called the convention a moonshot movement. However, activists have criticized the venue, accusing Saudi Arabia of watering down calls to phase out fossil fuels. Now on to business and tech news. US President Joe Biden warned against Donald Trump's tariff plan for Canada and Mexico yesterday. He said that Mexico and Canada are 2 of America's closest allies, adding that he hopes President-elect Trump will rethink his plan. Donald Trump has threatened to impose as much as 25% tariff on all imports from Canada and Mexico. Meanwhile, Canada says it'll show the new Trump administration how tariffs would be counterproductive. A minister said they would demonstrate how the US and Canadian oil markets are interconnected. The US imports a large portion of its oil needs from Canada. Earlier, it was reported that President-elect Trump plans to include oil in his tariff plans. Japan's yen rallied against the US dollar today after official inflation data was released. The yen traded below the 150 mark against the dollar for the first time in months. This came as Japanese consumer prices in October surged by more than what most economists were expecting. Traders are now to bet on an interest rate cut in the upcoming monetary policy meeting of the Bank of Japan. Australia's competition watchdog has given temporary approval for an alliance between Virgin Australia and Qatar Airways. Under the deal, Virgin will sell tickets for some flights operated by Qatar Airways. This will allow Qatar Airways to increase its flights to Australia. The deal still needs a final approval from the government, though. Earlier, the government had denied Qatar Airways' request to buy a 25% stake in Virgin Australia. The Southwest African nation of Namibia has imposed an immediate ban on Elon Musk's firm Starlink. The satellite internet company was found to be operating without a license. Namibia's communications regulator has instructed people not to buy or subscribe to Starlink's services. It also said that investigators have already confiscated illegal terminals from some consumers. India's competition regulator has launched a probe into Google. This follows a complaint by the online gaming platform Winzo. The complaint alleges that Google has restrictive policies for real money games. Winzo was removed from Google's Play Store after the company changed some of its policies in 2022. Meanwhile, Canada's antitrust regulator is suing the tech giant Google. This is over its allegedly anti-competitive behavior in its online advertising business. The lawsuit claims that Google has illegally dominated the ad business using its technological capabilities. The regulator plans to force Google to sell 2 of its ad tech businesses and pay a fine. The German government is reportedly planning over $2 billion in subsidies for the chip industry. The plan aims to attract new investments to the country. While the government has not revealed the expected amount of subsidies, it stated that they aim to develop modern chip production capacities in Germany. China says it'll take necessary actions to protect its chip firms from the US. This follows reports that the Biden administration is planning to impose new export restrictions on China. They may add as many as 200 Chinese chip makers to a trading blacklist for American firms. China's Commerce Ministry said it'll strongly oppose any potential action. ByteDance, the owner of TikTok, has reportedly filed a case against one of its former interns. The intern is accused of sabotaging the training infrastructure of ByteDance's artificial intelligence models. The Chinese firm is demanding over $1 million in compensation. The case has drawn widespread attention on social media in China. Now we move to sports news, and we start with cricket. Day 2 of the first test between England and New Zealand ended earlier today. New Zealand were bowled out for 348 for 8 wickets. Kane Williamson was top scorer with 93 runs for New Zealand in their first innings. England trailed by just 29 runs at stumps on day 2. Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese met the Indian cricket team ahead of their 2-day warm-up match against the Prime Minister's 11 starting on November 30th. Albanese shared photos on Instagram with Indian players, including captain Rohit Sharma and Virat Kohli. The meeting follows India's impressive 295-run victory over Australia in Perth in the first test match of the Border Gavaskar Trophy. The Women's Premier League auction for the 2025 season will be held on December 15th. It will take place in the Indian city of Bengaluru. The 5 teams will have a purse of 15 crore Indian rupees, or approximately 1.8 million US dollars. Top international stars to feature in the auction will be England captain Heather Knight and New Zealand fast bowler Leah Tahuhu. In football, fans of 4 rival clubs will unite to protest rising ticket prices. Supporters of Everton, Liverpool, Manchester City and Manchester United are set to protest together this weekend at Sunday's Premier League games. The demonstration is part of the Football Supporters Association's Stop Exploiting Loyalty campaign. Manchester United secured a 3-2 win over the Norwegian outfit Bodo Glimt in the Europa League. Alejandro Garnacho gave United an early lead with a goal in the first minute. Bodo Glimt turned the match around with 2 goals before half-time. Rasmus Højlund netted an equaliser just before the end of the first half, though. He scored the winner 5 minutes after play resumed and sealed the victory for United. In tennis, women's world number 2 Iga Świątek has accepted a 1-month suspension. This is because she failed a doping test. Świątek tested positive for a banned substance in August before the Cincinnati Open. The Polish tennis star described the incident as the worst experience of her life. In badminton, Indian shuttler PV Sindhu has reached the quarterfinals of the Syed Modi International competition. She faced a tough battle against Ira Sharma, winning 21-10, 12-21, 21-15. Sindhu will next face China's Dai Wang in the next round. Indian shuttler Lakshya Sen has also reached the quarterfinals of the Said Modi International Competition. He secured a smooth victory against Daniil Dubovenko of Israel. Sen beat his Israeli counterpart 21-14, 21-13. Now he will play against the fellow Indian Meraba Luong in the next round. Indian weightlifter Mirabai Chanu is set to miss the 2024 weightlifting championships. Chanu opted to skip the championships, saying she is still focusing on rehabilitation. She has been battling recurrent injuries since winning the silver medal at the 2022 World Championships. Chanu has just taken part in 4 competitions since 2022. Australia announced a $251 million in sports funding for the next 18 months. The Win Well and Play Well programs will support 70 sports. Olympic and Paralympic sports get priority ahead of the 2028 Games. The funding will also boost preparations for Brisbane's 2032 Olympics. In entertainment news, Billboard has issued an apology to Taylor Swift after using a controversial clip from rapper Kanye West's video. Billboard named Swift the second greatest pop star of the 21st century and used her naked wax statue clip from West's video, Fabulous, for the tribute. The rapper Ye, formerly known as Kanye West, has released a music video featuring his daughters Northwest and Chicago. The rapper used artificial intelligence to make futuristic versions of his daughters. The video shows his daughters with animalistic characters. According to reports, late singer Liam Payne's family is thinking about taking legal action against those linked to his death. They want to sue the people who they suspect contributed to his demise. Liam Payne died in October after falling from his hotel balcony in Argentina. The South Korean girl band New Jeans have left their management agency Adore. This comes after allegations of mistreatment and manipulation towards the band members. However, Adore says that the band has no grounds to announce their separation. They said that their contract with the band is still in effect. The rapper Drake has announced 2025 Australia and New Zealand dates for the Anita Max Win Tour. His first concert will be on the 9th of February in Melbourne City. Tickets will go on sale on December 6th. Drake will visit the region for the first time after 2017. Singer Cher claims that her upcoming album will probably be her last. She said, and I quote, "This is probably my last album that I'm gonna do." However, the singer is really excited for her 28th album as there are great songs in it. Cher has been a part of the music industry for nearly 6 decades now. Reports say that actor John Krasinski has logged off from his social media accounts. This happened after he was brutally trolled for becoming the sexiest man alive of 2024. The trolls reportedly scarred him so much that he went off the internet completely. Actor Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson has confirmed in an interview that he will be wearing a bodysuit for the live-action adaptation of Moana. The bodysuit will help him look bulky for his character of Maui. This comes after photos from the set leaked. The rapper Akala has dismissed all the rumors about him dating Angelina Jolie. He attended a Christmas event in London where he brought producer Chanel Newman with him. The rapper then introduced Newman as his girlfriend. The American actor Sharon Stone is not happy with Donald Trump's presidential win. She called Americans ignorant and arrogant for choosing Trump. Stone had previously said that she would move out of the US if Trump came to power. That's all for this episode of Fast and Factual. Thank you for watching and stay tuned to Firstpost.